Simon. Good morning, Mr. John. Thank you
morning.
very much for attending here. So, first question is, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Jonh Buck, and I work at the main campus in St. Louis of Webster University, and my job is Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, and I've been there for about 20 years now, and I'm also a two-time alum. I have my master's degree and my doctorate degree from Webster as well.
Thank you. Regarding social life, what are the most popular clubs in the Webster campuses?
Say again?
Regarding social life, what are the most popular clubs in the Webster campuses?
Webster in St. Louis has about 60 or 65 organizations right now. Student government is the big overarching organization that has representation from all across campus. We have a lot of academic clubs like an accounting club, a graphic design organization that are tied to majors and colleges of study. And then we have fun social ones that put on programs and events. And one is Chain Link Improv, which is a improvisational comedy troupe to learn how to be funny in front of people. And then there are a big group at Webster and St. Louis is the International Student Association, where international students from around the world participate, and they organize a big event every year called iFest, which is a big cultural festival that we have. So there's all kinds of groups, and all of them have been started by students, which is the great thing.
As the Dean of Students Affairs, what character features do you expect from the Webster students?
Well, I expect from Webster students a few things. One is that I want them to be really committed to the whole college experience. It's one thing to go to classes and study, and that's important. But it's also important to really have a lot of involvement outside the classroom because it makes campus life better, number one. And number two, it helps students develop leadership skills that when you graduate and go to work or go to graduate school, those are skills that you're going to have. So I really think being involved outside the classroom is really important. There is a pledge called We Are All Webster Pledge that I mentioned while I've been here visiting that students in St. Louis created a couple of years ago. And it sets expectations about how, as a global university, we're going to interact with one another. We're going to respect one another. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to be welcoming and have a community where everyone has a place to be. So that is really an important expectation. You can't be a part of Webster University and not have an appreciation for all of those around you from different parts of the world. So high expectations for involvement and high expectations that we're a welcoming community that brings global perspectives to the things we do every day.
Well, going to more personal question, I would like to know, were you a social active student?
I was a very socially active student. I was so socially active that my grades were very low, and I was not a good student. I did too much outside the classroom, and that's one of the things that I talk with student leaders about is you have to balance. It's important to make sure you're doing well academically, better than I did, and to be involved like I was maybe a bit too much when I was a student leader, but I was involved really from the first day when my father dropped me off to move into college. He said, take a lot of different classes and get involved in something. That was his advice to me. So I took that to heart and maybe a little too much, but I was very involved. And so when I talk about student involvement here, it's because I know what the benefit was to me when I was a student, and those things are important to carry on.
Have you been president or vice president of any club?
I was when I was an undergraduate student in a couple of organizations. The clubs that I was involved in as an undergraduate where I went to school had different roles. They had president and vice president, but they had communication coordinator roles and they had treasurer roles. So I had roles like that too. Coordinating roles. I did a lot of work with welcoming new students on the first day to university. So I had a lot of different roles, and some that were unique because the organization I was working with were unique too.
Another one personal question, what motivates you on your job? I mean that you could easily be in St. Louis, have a breakfast, but you are here in Uzbekistan, very mysterious. country to Americans
Sure.
and helping us. What motivates you?
Say again?
What is your motivation?
No, I'm not understanding your.
From what do you take motivation?
Oh, what do I
Being
take
here,
What do I take away? Well, I must tell you that before I came here, other colleagues who had come before me told me the students are so excited, they want to be so involved, and they want to do so many things. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see. And it's totally true. I mean, what's really amazing is how much enthusiasm is here, how sincerely people want to be Webster students. We're getting asked questions about when can I go study abroad, and how do we start this club, and what can we do next, and can we get a Gorlock mascot outfit, and can we have shirts and hats? I mean, there's such a sincere, eager energy to be completely Webster University students, and I have been so blown away, if you know what, just by how excited people are, and that's exciting for me because I can now go back to St. Louis and say, wait till you meet some of the students in Tashkent, because they are in completely on having the full experience here. So I'm very impressed, and I'm very happy that I got to spend time with so many students, and I want to come back. Not tomorrow, but come back another time and see how I can help more. But it's really been very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. Well, as far as I understand, you're a very busy person. You're traveling and spend a lot of time with helping with to students. And when you have your free time, what do you spend? Please?
I'm a big football fan, a soccer fan. I played football growing up until I was about 45, and then I thought I better stop. So I'm a big sports fan. I collect Olympic memorabilia, like Olympic pins and flags and jerseys and things. So I like to collect things like that. I really do enjoy traveling. I have not traveled the world much until I came to Webster. So it's been very exciting to kind of travel the world. But if I can talk about the Olympics with somebody, or I can go to see something Olympic, or I can watch football or play a little bit, those are the things that I like to do in my free time.
What is your favorite club, football club?
Well, I tend to follow internationally. I follow teams where U.S. national team players are playing. So Christian Pulisic is one of our best players. So I'm watching Chelsea play a lot. One of the American goalkeepers who was great, Tim Howard, played for 10 or 11 years at Everton. So I was a big Everton fan. Clint Dempsey played for. I forget where Clint played, but I follow those teams. In the U.S., we have Major League Soccer. That's our professional league, and I got to go to the final championship game in Seattle. Seattle played Toronto, and it was such 70,000 people, just like a raucous international game. People yelling and screaming, and they won MLS Cup 3-1. So that happened just before I came here. So I follow teams in the U.S., but I follow international teams if there are U.S. players that play for them. And our national team is not good at all right now. So it's fun to watch them playing on a good team, because when they come together, they're not playing very, very good football.
Yeah. Okay, going back to the social life. When I came home after Saturday summit, I got myself on the idea that it would be great if we could organize some kind of conference between all Webster Students University.
Right.
What do you think? Is it possible?
It is possible. I think I have some similar ideas that when I go back to St. Louis, for the kinds of clubs that you want to initially start, and even ones that were on the list to start maybe a little bit later, I think that there could be some really good ways to connect student leaders here with student leaders in the U.S., but also maybe in Vienna, in Geneva, and Leiden, because they all have student clubs and organizations like you're starting. And I think that is that's one of the real strengths of being Webster University, is that there are people near and far to where we are in Tashkent, and they have had all kinds of experiences that would benefit you and could guide you and advise you and give you ideas and support. So there really is not another school in the world who can create that. You can be talking to someone in Leiden in the Netherlands, and then someone in St. Louis, and then maybe someone in Thailand who is working on student government. So there's a real benefit for the kind of place Webster University is to really connect people globally, even if you're in one place, to know and make friends and discuss leadership kinds of things with other students. So yes, I have similar ideas. I think that would be great for here, and it would be great for the other international campuses too.
Yeah. Okay, and in the end of the interview, I would like to ask our traditional questions
Okay.
for our guests.
How many traditional questions?
One.
Just one?
Just
Okay.
one, yeah. Can you please describe Webster in one word?
I would use the word eclectic. Do you know what that word means?
Yeah, yeah.
It means very positively unusual. I mean, there is a place for everyone at Webster University. If you're in St. Louis, if you're in Tashkent, if you're anywhere in the world, Webster is an eclectic mix of students. A lot of students in Webster in St. Louis are my age. They're going back for master's degree, and they're 45 or 50. And then there are people like you who are here, who are 18, 19. So Webster is this worldwide place that is very eclectic. We have such a diverse array of people who study here, and alumni from around the world. But there's a place for every single person at Webster. Maybe it's here, maybe it's in St. Louis, but I think that's my favorite aspect of Webster. It's very eclectic and very diverse. And anywhere you go, you see or hear or watch something very different than what you are.
Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
He's a killer queen, got bad agility.